KNOC Hard Rockology Show, Chris, Matt, Jason, Patrick of Heaven Below, and Shad of Heaven Below.
Brand new drummer.
Brand new drummer.
And hopefully the
final drummer.
Spinal Tap...
He is not going to turn into a green globule or whatever the movie said, or we're not going to have to dust for vomit or anything.
Yeah, so, like, when you first saw that movie, you're probably thinking, well, that's so ridiculous. To keep on...
Yeah, why would that ever happen?
Yeah, why would that ever happen?
Well, I was reminded as a little kid, my favorite band was Judas Priest, and I was like, wow, Judas Priest always had a different drummer, and I always wondered why.
Yeah,
you know?
And then he got stuck with Dave Holland for like 10 years.
Yeah.
I could never figure that out.
Well, he was solid. Yeah,
he was solid.
No, let's put it this way. Les Binks...
Oh, he was amazing.
A phenomenal technical playing drummer, very similar to the drummer they have right now, Travis.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Chris. This is one of the things that really pisses me off about Judas Priest because Dave Holland. I didn't. Although I did like his drumming on Point of Entry. Because he was doing some crazy shit back there. Yeah. But after that, it became like lobotomized drumming.
It was a drum machine on turbo and ram it down. That's programmed drums.
And I'm sitting there going, and
Defenders of the Faith too.
So basically, they get rid of Les Binks because they said they want a less technical drummer to play.
Yeah.
So they bring this guy in, which is great. And then they get Travis going, well, we're really glad we have him back, so now we can play some songs from our old catalog we couldn't play before.
Yeah.
Because he's a much more of a technical drummer. It's like, well, why the hell did you ever get rid of the drummer you had?
The drummer was the whipping boy, I guess.
See, it's not always the drummer's fault.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. I mean, I love hard rock. I love heavy metal and hard rock, but if the drumming is just like even Ian Pace on Perfect Stranger
is awful.
It's just like, what the hell happened to you, dude?
Yeah. Well, they start chasing the pop song.
Yeah, exactly.
And usually with anything pop, whether it's Def Leppard or Justin Bieber, there's not much room for drums to go off.
No.
There's no Neil Peart in that.
Yeah.
I can tell you from the late 90s through basically now, until my encounter with Heaven Below, it's been pretty much sound like this. There's been a lot of Be the Drum Machine, which I think, was a cool thing for a minute. But yeah, you lose the human. You totally lose the human.
We're taking back the power, guys.
Bringing it back.
Well, yeah, it became a distraction in bands in the 80s. You had this great guitar playing, great singing, and then you had this drum in the background going, what's this guy doing? He's got like this huge drum set. He's playing the same thing over and over.
He's twirling his sticks.
That only works in
his hair.
It only works in AC/DC.
And that was a lot of fun.
It only works in AC/DC to be that simple, I guess.
Yeah. Now, the programming thing worked out really well. I mean, let's be honest. It can get very expensive to record drummers. A live drum kit in studio is a whole... it's almost an additional expense in and of itself. And once you get into the programming, and as programs and drum machines and things have gotten better and better and better, and producers...
Now you can't. Now it's hard to tell the difference. Pro Tools has made a drummer sound like a machine, and you can make a machine sound like a drummer.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Somebody about the bands in the '80s, how they used to have to spice up the tapes to make the song sound good for the record.
Now you
can just come in and just...
Oh, it's all on a grid. It's on there. There's beat 1, bar 2. Let's make the drums super solid. Oh, well, now let's make them shift a little.
Yeah.
It's all
or if you can't sing that day, they'll just figure out how to do something with your vocals or whatever.
Oh, yeah. It's called Beat Detective. That was a popular one for a while. Beat Detective would take a live drummer and make him sound solid.
And that's where I think the music's gotten lost. I mean, and when you're letting a machine do something, and I'm a huge fan of science fiction, and that always that philosophy that once machines take over, that's the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go down the Terminator road where the machines take over or what have you, but when you start using too much technology to make artists or make music, it gets lost. And what you're getting is people on stage with drum tracks. You're getting people on stage that are lip syncing.
Yeah.
Do you really think Britney Spears is actually singing when she's running around doing all those dance moves? It's not physically possible.
Yeah.
And it just takes away from the music. I want to go out there. I just want to see the artist perform. I mean, we were fortunate enough to see Heaven and Hell with Ronnie James Dio play at the Blockbuster Pavilion up there. Yes. And my girlfriend, she went to go see the concert, and she didn't know that Heaven and Hell was actually Ronnie James Dio's Black Sabbath. But when they went on stage and started playing, she was mesmerized. And she turns around to me and she goes, "You know what? Those people are musicians." And they played with Motley Crue. And she's looking at Motley Crue going, Heaven and Hell, Black Sabbath, those are musicians.
Yeah.
Motley Crue, her attitude was, they're just a band.
They're entertainers.
They're entertainers,
Yeah.
exactly.
Entertainers.
And for somebody like my girlfriend to sit there and say that and recognize that, and I agreed with it wholeheartedly. It was like, yeah, you're right. These are musicians. These are people that have perfected their craft, and they go out there and it just moves you.
Yeah.
For whatever reason it is.
It just hits something. Yeah, it doesn't matter what country you're from. You can feel that it's really working.
I mean, and we're doing this radio show, and we get a lot of music to listen to, and I always call like hard rock by the numbers, heavy metal by the numbers, where the bands are just putting everything out by the numbers. It's just like there's like a directional book, like you do this, this, and this, you'll have a song. And they go,
what's Three Doors Down doing this year?
Yeah.
We're going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Or what's Shinedown doing? We're going to
Exactly.
follow them, and then all of a sudden you go, "Who is that band? They sound like that band. I can't tell the
They want
difference."
They want a formula for everything.
Cookie cutter.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to knock. I mean, I'll take the Hinder album that just came out.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to knock Hinder. I mean, Hinder has been successful. They're selling a lot of records. But when I listened to the album, I was just like, what is this?
It's just like fast food. You can't always eat great steak. So sometimes you want some crappy.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying that's what Hinder is either.
That's what the iPod Shuffle's for.
Yeah.
No, but what I'll say this though is I was reading some of the reviews, and a lot of the fans were sitting there saying, like, what is this? Yeah. I mean, are they not writing music anymore? Are they just doing it by, are they just
by the numbers?
By the numbers.
And that's key. Are they writing music anymore?
Yeah.
Because that's where the art is. Most of it's not being written anymore. It's being regurgitated.
And you know what? And I like Hinder. I think Hinder has the capability of writing good music, but when their fans are saying, what is this? I mean, it's one thing to sit there and put a track on there that sounds like this or like that. When you're putting a whole album together,
Too
it's like,
predictable.
It's too exactly. Yeah. It's kind of like with the Scorpions, and I love the Scorpions. The Scorpions got into that mode in the '80s and into the '90s, where it was just like, well, we got to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And yeah, there's a lot of fans out there, probably the same fans that like Def Leppard doing the same thing. And it's just
what he's really telling you, Patrick, is do not follow this roadmap.
Yeah. No, I think I like too much different stuff, Like,
I think so too. I think it comes across in your music.
Oh, thank you.
There's like way too much stuff going on to sit there and go, okay, we're going to do the same record we did last time because that one sold.
I mean, I'm going to go back to, I'll always go back to this band because it's one of my favorite bands of all time, UFO. Yeah. I mean, UFO put out 9 uniquely different albums that were by themselves great albums. And there's a lot of bands in the 70s into the early 80s that did the same thing. Judas Priest did the same thing as well. They got into a little bit of a rut in the mid-80s, and I think that's why Halford left, because he's like going, you know what, we're stagnating here. Probably the same reason why Dickinson left Iron Maiden.
Exactly.
The same thing. And it's you got to keep doing what you want to do. And we had a band from Australia on last week.
Yeah, they're a new band, like 15-year-old kids.
Yeah, and I just told them, my advice to them was, you know what, don't listen to everybody else. Just go ahead and play what you want to play, do what you want to do, lay down the tracks you want to lay down, and then worry about it later on. Go back and look at it later on, but don't have somebody telling you what to do, because the moment you do that, you compromise yourself, you lose what it is that you're trying to do.
We like to just what I do for myself, even before the band gets the songs, I write as many songs as I can. Not that I'm in a race with myself, but our next album is already figured out as far as the demos go, and I put 30 songs out there. There's got to be some goodness if you do 30 songs. There's got to be some great
30 songs. They always hear about bands writing 30 songs. You're like, going 30 songs?
That's
and there's
what
like 10 on the album?
Yeah, and then we go through and we A&R them. We go, these are the ones we want, these kind of work. And we feel like just, numerically you're going to find some good stuff if you're any band who does that.
Okay, I want to go back real quick to your beginning of your career because, I mean, Matt, we just got done playing Three-Faced, Heart Rage Is On. That was your second band.
Yeah.
Obviously, the first band was Union Underground.
Yeah.
You did that album. You wrote most of that stuff with your friend from school.
From school, yeah, from high school. I had a band. We had a band, and we became the biggest. That's funny to even say now. We were the biggest local band, and there was a scene on the horizon that people were going to call nu metal, and we became a part of that. And we went out and played with an unknown band called Linkin Park. Opened up for us, and played with this unknown band called Disturbed, and these people, and it kind of grew and got its own thing. And everybody likes to ask what happened with Union Underground. I'm just straight up. We had a lot of the problems that you see on those behind the musics, only we worked it into about 1 year instead of 10. So
oh, really? Because it was really amazing because you're like a brand new band, your first album, you're on Ozfest, you're playing with these other bands, and then you're playing with your friend that you grew up with in junior high or whatever. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, everything just fell apart, and then it was over.
There was a couple things that happened. The band had a lot of internal conflicts. I was definitely compromising myself very badly financially, more than I should have. And I remember the label at the time. We had put out that Education and Rebellion, and there was a big turning point. The Napster thing had happened, and Sony, the whole label, was getting rid of 75 bands. It started all the way down to Little Union Underground to Ozzy was not renewing his contract, and there was no longer a label. And we had people like Roadrunner that wanted to sign Union Underground, but we had a lot of problems. I couldn't even sit in a room anymore with the singer, with my friend that I grew up with, and there was a lot of problems, and everybody went back to Texas, and I said, you know what? I'm not going back to Texas. I'm going to stay out here in L.A. I love it here. I love the weather. I love the people. And I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm just going to stay here. And I had an opportunity to play on a Rob Zombie album before John 5 joined, and that was a big deal. And I got to play with some of my heroes. And eventually it turned into Heaven Below. But, sometimes you just got to say, well, fuck everything. I'm not going to make an exact plan. I'm going to see where something takes me as long as I'm working. And so I just kept working, and I've done a ton of studio work. I still do studio work, re-recorded commercials and stuff. I did a William Shatner album that I did all the guitars and backups on. I think it's up for a Grammy this year.
Did you actually get a chance to meet William Shatner?
Yeah, he's awesome, great guy. And he put my name on his Twitter. He said, "Thank you, Patrick, for all the work." And
I'm a huge Star Trek fan. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. And so, I don't know. Life is a funny thing. I don't have a roadmap. I just kind of do what I want.
Do you talk to the guys from Union Underground anymore?
I talk to John Moyer a lot, who's in Now and Disturbed, and I talk to our drummer Josh. And me and the singer, no, real bad, very bad, falling out, divorce type, attorney, lawyer type shit.
And
that's how it is. Yeah.
Well, you know what?
I dropped the kids off at the pool. There was no kids.
Yeah.
Well, I guess which then transitions into Three Faced, which we were doing some research on you and with the female singer, and for me, I'm always intrigued by female singers, especially in the hard rock genre. And then when we actually got some of the music sent over to us and all that, and actually listened to it, it was actually really good.
Well, I want to give a shout out to what's his name, David Garcia. I think that's his name.
The publicist?
No, your friend in Texas.
Yeah. Okay,
he sends over a lot of the Eddie Garcia. I'm sorry, Eddie. I'm sorry. But he sent over the stuff for us, and I really liked it.
Yeah, Three Face was kind of like, you know how you go out with a girl who's the dirtiest stripper ever, and then you decide you want a girl who's like the perfect businesswoman? Well, Three Face was kind of my answer to Union Underground, to have the girl. And then I realized, we got attention and some things were going cool. And then it was kind of like, that's not really me. I compromised myself. I was trying to be the anti-Union Underground for myself, and I was already singing half the songs with Three Faced. It was me and the girl kind of doing a Fleetwood Mac heavy metal thing.
I mean, it came across that way, too.
Yeah.
Didn't you guys cover a Fleetwood Mac type song?
Yeah, we did. We did Edge of 17. Yep. And then we were done with it. It was kind of like I said, going out with the businesswoman, and you got to find something that in between the dirtiest whore and the businesswoman. And I guess Heaven Below is both a businesswoman and a dirty whore.
I mean, it's just great to have you guys in studio because, I mean, when Union Underground, you were up on top, and then you basically transitioned to where you are now. So, I mean, for me, it's just fascinating because, I mean, you basically said in a nutshell, within a year or two, it was pretty much done.
It was done, yeah. I was just like, whatever.
And then you had to start all over again.
It felt like that. Do you know what? My dad is very smart, and the things he says, if you go through an experience, you're either going to learn something financially or, it just makes you smarter. And it was one of those things where I learned so much by being Union Underground. I can tell you exactly how royalties get paid. I can tell you exactly who's going to try to fuck you over on money. I can tell you exactly where you'll probably make your most money. And I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I just got my ass kicked.
You just learned it from experience.
Experience, yeah. So when Heaven Below has a song that does well or gets to active rock or when we have a little chart position, I feel like I know why. So I didn't say I know why. I just feel like I know why.
Feel like
All right. So you guys want to get set up for another acoustic track? Maybe?
Yeah, and I know Jason's got to get out of here, but we can do get set up, and then we'll come back and we'll do another track.
We'll do something off the cuff. We don't know what we're going to play yet.
All right. Cool. So what track you got lined up there for us, Jason?
Brutal as the Truth.
Brutal as the Truth. This sounds like a pretty kick-ass song.
It is.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with the title, right?
Oh, wait till the double bass on it will work any man.
All right, let's hear the drums on this particular track.
All right, Heaven Below on the Hard Rockology Show.